I'm good. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I'm very excited.
Of course.
Yeah, so let's just jump right into it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was so very excited when I found out Belinda was returning. Like
Not
the
more than me.
yeah, the girls and the gays were all screaming for it. I was so excited about it. You had some time away, obviously, before jumping back in. So I was curious, when did you first learn that you were returning to the White Lotus and that was in the cards? And were you an automatic yes for that? Did it?
I would go to Target for Mike. I
Yeah.
will, like, honey, he could
Mm,
ask me to go anywhere and the answer would be yes. So,
I love that.
I was not expecting the ask at
Mm,
all. Like, I had definitely said goodbye to Belinda,
yeah.
and um, we had dinner when he was in town from shooting in Sicily, and he was in town for the it was that weird time where they did the Emmys for the year before, the year after
Hmm.
because of COVID. And we had grabbed dinner and he's just like, I'm still in season 2, but I'm already thinking of season 3 and maybe Belinda could come back and I'm thinking about that. What do you think of it? And I said the same thing I told you. I was like, I will follow you anywhere, Mike. And um but I'm also a writer and I know nothing's
Yeah.
real until like pen hits paper. So I
Yeah.
didn't hold my breath and um but then he circled back and I was so overwhelmed that, I would be able to come back.
That's amazing. It's exciting that he was already thinking that far ahead for you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just his mind is I wouldn't
Yeah,
even attempt to try to I think like, his mind will be studied in like in courses in the future because he
absolutely.
he holds it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you can feel that.
Yeah.
But because you had so much time away from Belinda, I guess in what ways did that space away from her help you tap back into her? And what challenges did that present?
It's so funny. Carrie Coon gave me the best metaphor. When she's talking about like returning to a role after a long time, she's
Yeah.
like, Natasha, it's like putting on a wet bathing suit. It fits. It feels a little weird, but everything's fine when you get in the water. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly it. It was like, oh, I was so afraid that she wouldn't still be inside of me. That was the biggest fear. But as soon as I landed in Thailand and I saw the same DP and the same hair and makeup team and, seeing Mike, I was like, oh, she's here. Like, I know where she is. And it's like, it just being around like the heart and soul of the show, which is the production crew, having so many familiar faces, I was like, oh, we're here.
Good. That is the perfect metaphor, by the way.
Isn't
Shout
it?
out Carrie Coon. She
Carrie
said,
Coon,
brilliant. You said it, and
everything.
I didn't play Belinda, but I knew what she meant immediately. I was like, I get
Exactly. Yeah.
it. So in season one, we see a lot of Belinda's compassion get taken
Mm,
advantage of. I think she's so compassionate and she's so
yeah.
hard on her sleeve, but unfortunately that gets taken advantage of a lot. But when she returns, she still has that kindness, but I don't feel like it's ever at the expense of her choosing herself this
Yeah.
time, for be it for pleasure, protection, or her future. So I was wondering how you crafted her to feel familiar yet different, and what, if anything, at all changed about your process. I know we touched a little bit on it. She felt familiar, but did anything change as you were approaching this new Belinda?
Yeah. I think so much of who she is was present in season 1, but she wasn't allowed to express it.
Mm,
So that was the most fascinating thing for me about season 3 in the process. It's the audience is getting to know a version of Belinda that I already met and already have known, but now
okay.
she's allowed to be free. And I think so much of her existence is biting her tongue and swallowing blood and not allowed to say what she thinks and pulling punches time and time again. And she gets to be in Thailand and try on this like vacation persona, where she
Mhm.
can be loud and, have a one night stand and like explore parts of herself and be mama bear. And all of those things were in the DNA of the character as I built her season 1. But the expression of those things this season is so cathartic because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
she gets to finally say what she thinks and, you know, not just smile tightly and do the thing that's expected of her. She gets to do things that are unexpected and, maybe not very, moral in terms of taking, the cash, but
Yeah.
she's putting herself first, which is something I feel like she's not used to. And I think that's why audiences love seeing her thrive in this way, because it's like she represents that part of all of us that we deny, and we get to
Yeah.
see her just like lean into it.
Oh, absolutely. Like you can just feel it's like that like light on your face moment, you know? Like
Yes.
I felt that for her all season long. Oh,
Yes.
yes. It's so interesting you bring that up because my next question actually is about like a lot of her arc and how she's kind of healing and finding her voice, like you were saying, and having these
Yeah.
moments to express herself. And for me as a viewer, I think a big moment where she breaks through is during that negotiation with Gary Gregg and Zion.
Yeah.
So I was curious, what was it like filming that scene and approaching it knowing Belinda's actually kind of playing chess while these men are playing checkers and
Hey.
she's in on it. Like I think they a little bit underestimate her. So what was it like crafting that scene? What was that day
Oh,
like?
I love this question because it wasn't originally written that way.
Oh,
Mike and
okay.
I collaborate when we, approach
Yes.
Belinda. And so I asked him, I was like, we went page by page season one, working on her. Can we do that again? He's like, yes, please. And he knows we're both writers, so he knows it's not coming from a place of ego. I'm just like,
No.
making Belinda feel authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him when I got to that scene, it bummed me out because originally it had Zion taking the reins and Belinda was just riding shotgun the whole time.
Mm,
And I was just like, is there any way where Belinda can have agency, where we can see her make a decision and say, fuck it, I'm going to lean in and I'm going to like take control? And Mike took that pitch and wrote this incredible scene. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because you do get Zion taking the reins. Because in my backstory, Belinda agrees to 1 million. She's like, let's just ask for 1 million and
yeah.
keep it pushing. Zion takes it to 5. She chokes on her whiskey. And then, like you said, she's playing chess. She sees that Greg is starting to sweat. And she's like, this motherfucker is going to give me 5 million. Let's
Yeah.
go. And
Let's
so
do it.
we see her like that moment in the it's one of my favorite scenes we shot.
Yes.
It's like walking down the hallway and you see Belinda's mind racing and she turns and she grabs her son, she's like, close it. She has this moment of power, and everyone's perceiving it as weakness, including Greg, and it's just
Hmm.
like, I'm playing you, you motherfucker. Like, I'm
Yeah.
playing you. It's such a cathartic moment.
Yeah, and like I think what's so brilliant about like your work specifically, if you go back and watch it, like you can kind of see her gears turning. It's a beautiful internal like performance in that moment.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
it. Uh, I love Belinda. I would go to Target for her.
Hey baby,
Anything she wants, anything Belinda wants.
we can go together.
Let's do it. Give me a time and place. Um, but speaking of Zion, actually, I think that relationship is so real and lived
Mm,
in. And, um, I'm kind of a mama's boy too. And like you mentioned in an interview, like they're in this place where it's like, can we like have this drink together? Can we be pals and all
yeah.
this? So I was wondering, what did it look like for you and Nicholas Duvernay, who's amazing, by the way? What
He's
did
so
it
wonderful.
so wonderful, so talented, very excited for more of him. What did it look like building that dynamic between the two of you, given that we have to believe it from the jump and it has to have all this nuance and history?
Yeah, I reached out to him before he landed in Thailand, and we had planned to grab dinner. Right, top of the, my I think I landed on a Monday, he landed on a Wednesday, and we were like, let's
Mm,
grab dinner and just like connect and just see that, just feel each other out. And he's a soupçon younger than me, and so I was like, I think he's going to want to hang out with the younger cast members, so we'll make it a quick dinner. We talked for 4 hours, like,
oh my
and we
God.
were just like in it, and we got philosophical. We talked about our childhood, our upbringings, and like the things that overlapped. And um I at one point during the meal, I said, "You are too symmetrical to be this deep." Like, I was like, I can't. I was like, how how am I having this conversation? He's like, what do you mean? I was just like, you are very attractive.
Hmm.
And you don't have to be this intelligent. You don't have to be this smart and insightful and kind and loving and warm. And he's like, that's all I know how to be. And from that point on, I knew that that was my son. And even off screen, I was I was like mama bear. I was like, if
Yeah.
anyone gives you trouble on set, not that they would, but I'm like, if anyone does, you let me know. I would check in him with him all the time. And obviously he would go out and hang out with like Amy Lou and,
Yeah.
Sam and all the other kids. And I'd be like, text me when you get back. Like, I felt so nice. Like, are you safe? Do you need anything?
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's
I
lovely.
just, yeah, it's a real love there for sure.
Oh, you feel it so hard on that screen. I love the two of them. I need more of
Oh,
the two of you together.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah. I love the moment where Belinda says, like, can't I just be rich for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And I would feel like as an actor, especially in a major project like The White Lotus, you may kind of feel that way. Like, can't I just enjoy this for 5 minutes? Because there's so much hype and conversation and people being
Yeah.
like, who dies at the end? How do you make sure you're really taking in that experience and enjoying the process and the experience that is the White
Whew.
Lotus?
Honey, my therapist is well paid. She is working overtime these
Mhm,
days.
mhm,
Because it's so hard to white knuckle sanity when it's so much of like the fandom of the show wants to sweep you into like, you
mhm.
know, the pettiness is their drama. Like it's so funny. People are like, "What's the tea?" And I'm like, "There's literally no tea. Like there's literally no oolong. Like there's please, like enjoy your lives. Like can't you accept that it was just like fun people made a fun project and you enjoyed it? Like can it be
Yeah.
that?" And yeah, I try to really keep myself as grounded as possible. And I think what helps is that like I'm like a nerd about the craft. Like that's one thing me
Yeah.
and Walton would talk shop with. Like Walton's a nerd about this, like the artistry, and as am I. And the fame and all of that, and like the notoriety and people knowing who I am now is not why I did this to begin with. Like I went to school for theater with an RE. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes,
Like
the RE.
the RE. And
Mhm,
so for me, all of this that's happening now is noise. What's real is what's on the page. It's how I feel when I put on a character. It's storytelling. It's being able to touch people with the work that I do. And I'm so grateful for this moment, but I'm also very aware that Hollywood is just flighty as fuck. And
mhm.
I may be very topic conversation now, but tomorrow I'm lining a bird cage. So I never want to like hang my joy on the fevered sort of feeling of right now. And I'm white knuckling, that the reality of that right now.
Mm.
And it's not easy, I'm human and it's nice to be wanted and liked and people like what you do. And I feel particularly lucky because I'm playing a character that's so beloved and that like bleeds on to people loving me. And I never want to confuse that for real love or real, tangible love, but I'm grateful for it because I know my work has touched someone. So I don't disregard it, but I also don't put all my hope in it, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
answer. So what, shifting back to like Belinda specifically, what was kind of your take on where her arc concluded this season? And do you think she is content?
I
A
think
can of worms, I know.
it's a can of worms. I think ill-gotten gains will always come back to haunt you.
Mm,
So I think even though she was righteous in her acquisition of the money, it felt deserved because she was fed so many lies by Tanya season one. She, I think, knows in her heart that it's playing with fire because I think that's why she's like, we got to get the fuck out of here now. Like,
yeah.
I want to be, she literally, one of the lines that is the most ominous is like, I want to be hard to find
Yeah.
because
Oh,
she
yeah.
knows that like this could come back and bite her in the ass. And so, um, for me, the ending for her is it's beautiful because we see her center herself and like she's deciding to be the hero of her own journey and no longer outsource her happiness to someone else to make her dreams come true. She's going to do it herself. But I'm worried for her a little bit because I'm like, that's like karma.
Mm,
Karma is going to come back in some way. So, and all cards on the table, like truly put me on a lie detector test. I know nothing about anything that Mike has planned for season 4 or anything else. Um, so I don't know if we're just left with that question for forever. Um, but I'd like to think that she has gets to live in a bit of peace of financial
Mm,
freedom
yeah.
for a little bit
Hell
and
yeah.
decide what her joy is for a little bit before karma comes knocking, you know? I my hope is she gets a bit of reprieve before karma comes up.
Well, so my follow-up was, if do you think if she had walked away without the money, is there a chance she ends up happier instead of, I know there is freedom in the financial acquisition of it all, but do you
Yeah.
think she ends up happier had she maybe not taken that?
I think she would be happy, but in a different way. I think that she, because she is in the wellness space, she is so spiritual. I think that she's figured out a long time ago that money isn't happiness.
Hmm.
So I don't think that she is fooled in the same way the other guests of the White Lotus are fooled,
Yeah.
that money is solving something. So much of the White Lotus is, the guests go there, and especially this season, they're meeting themselves in a really abrupt way. And I think she's met herself, but I think that she's flirting with a different version of herself that in saying yes to taking this money and to jumping into the unknown in this way. But yeah, I think that she's made she's going to be happy either way. But I think this is the happiness that comes with financial freedom is unreal. I
Yeah.
remember when I was able to pay off, like I had like credit card debt, like crazy. Like I was a theater major. I had credit card debt, baby. So like making being able to pay that off and not be preoccupied with when the next bill is coming. I literally didn't know what to do with the real estate in my brain that had been dedicated to how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my rent? When that goes away, it's like, what do you
Yeah.
do? And so I think that she's going to take some time to figure out what to do with that freedom, you know?
Yeah. So I was going to ask then, if we were to see her in future episodes, I know we don't know anything about season 4, but if she were, how do we think she will have changed then as she navigates this new idea of financial freedom?
I think, I mean, money corrupts.
Mhm.
So I would, my prayer for her is that that corruption is not um, fundamental, but just superficial.
Yeah.
That it's sort of a blip in the radar and it's a lesson. I think that that corruption could be a lesson and not necessarily like um a permanent condition. I think I do think that wellness and helping people and compassion is in her DNA. So I think even in a world where she is kind of maybe corrupted by this money in some way, she's still wanting to help people, you
Yeah.
know? I think that that is kind of her factory setting. So that's my hope is that she's still in the business of helping people even if she, maybe doesn't say thank you a lot.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. That is, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for her then.
Yeah,
I
me
hope for
too.
her too. A lot of your characters that we've seen across your career are about growth. Um, I've
Little
been
growth.
I've been rehearsing that move all day, but we have.
You nailed it.
Thank you, thank you. It was my theater degree at play.
I love it.
But like from Kelly to Mel in How to Die Alone and Belinda, as someone myself who's been watching you since Insecure, it's been so cool watching you grow into this leading lady. I was just wondering, how have these iconic women that you've played helped you grow as you find yourself higher on the call sheet, shouldering these stories, etc.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like if I could go into a time machine and go back and tell the struggling version of myself after theater school that this would be where the story goes, she'd be like, "You lying?" Because it really is unbelievable. But I'm so grateful for all of the characters that I play, and there is this through line in the Venn diagram of them of women who want more for themselves and go after it in a way that is a little scary and vulnerable. And I
Mhm.
I think I'm drawn to those roles because that's me. You know, I think it's not just me, I think it's human.
Yeah.
I think we are on this constant journey to be brave and be ourselves and to love ourselves and to center ourselves and um I I love playing characters that are on the precipice of finding that out because I think in real life when I was doing that, I felt so scary and so isolating and so foreign. You know, it would blow my mind to meet people that were just so self-possessed and like walking around New York and they just knew they were the shit. And I'm like, I don't even know where the shit store is. I am like, I don't know how to be that self-possessed and the enoughness. Like I walked in not enoughness my whole life. And so um being able to play characters that are breaking free of that feels like my life's purpose if we want to get really like woo woo about it.
No,
Like I feel
let's
like
woo woo.
let's woo woo baby. Like I do feel like that's why I am called to do this work because it's fucking hard to be human. It's fucking hard to be othered in a world that is, you know, says everything that I am is not enough and your voice has to be louder than all of that. And so giving voices to these characters is a part of my own healing process. And so I'll always champion marginalized voices. I'll always center them and I'll always be drawn to characters that are in some way bucking the system and subverting those expectations.
That's lovely. Sorry, I'm just like sitting with that. That's so lovely and like it really shows like time and time again and like your passion for that
Oh,
like radiates and it's just so great to see you care about that but also like your care for the craft. So,
thank
yeah.
you.
I think that's about 20 minutes that our time, but those are all the questions I have for you. And I just wanted to say again, like, thank you so much for taking the time. This is actually my first big boy interview like ever. And
I would
it,
never know. Adam,
I've been stressing all week about it, but
what?
it feels so special that it got to be with you. I just
Oh,
really hope you know that. I want you to know that. Yeah, you've made
oh,
this very special for me. So thank you for taking the time. And
oh.
yeah,
You've made
I'm,
this special for me. I
oh,
love, thank you for sharing that. I love
oh,
that
good.
vulnerability.
Oh, oh, good.
No, that's major. It's
Yeah,
major.
yeah.
And yeah, you made this super easy. You're very good at
Oh,
what you do.
well, thank you. I really appreciate that. But I could talk to you for hours and hours. Hopefully we get
Yeah.
to talk again. But thank you so much and congratulations on a great season of television and excellent work. I'm really, really rooting for you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, you too. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye.